Any good points I make get cut.
I am the Doctor, this is my section. Earth is under my protection. Planet of birth is Gallifrey. I've got 2 hearts, your life is safe. Run into the Master Raw, Missy. Come on, Alonzo. Alonzi. I am a Time Lord. No, I'm not rich. 12 bodies a man. Now it's time for a switch. Don't look like that. I'm in great health. You were expecting someone else. Regeneration. Oh, such fun. When I say run, run, run. What's up, my boy? Peace and sanity. Sorry, mustache. Reverse the polarity. Sometimes I'm north, but always a limey, wibbly wobbly, timey-wimey. Jump in the TARDIS, go for a ride, it's bigger on the inside. Exploring all of time and space, oh what's that? Exterminate.
Cyberman, a Daleks baby.
Would you like a jelly baby? Time's ticking, we'd best go, a new adventure, Geronimo! I am fantastic, so are you, best come with me, I'm Doctor Who. Welcome to a brand new episode of D4WH. You can spend the rest of your lives listening to us, but we can't spend the rest of our lives listening to you.
No.
That's the curse of D4WH. I am one of the hosts. Oh my god, I'm the Tin Dog. I'm Adam O'Sullivan. Joining me as always is my co-host. She used to have so much mercy. It's Nicchia Schutz.
Oh, I did have so much mercy, but you're not the Tin Dog, you're...
I'm the man in the vanna.
Yeah. You're our man on hand.
I'm the man in Havana, which is actually a dig, because apparently it's a parody novel.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
The Man in Havana.
See,
just like nobody contacts ever.
I did a little bit of research last night, as I always do.
Yeah.
And the man from Havana is about a guy who basically is a bad spy, so he just makes up stuff to send them.
I do that. That would
So
be good.
first of all, I don't know how Mickey knows that reference, because it's like from it's an old novel, but
Oh. Mickey has spare time on his hands now. Rose is away. He reads.
in his office, which I don't know where that office was. Today we are joined by international improv star. She's no dinner lady, and I don't often say that. It's Rebecca Renton.
Oh my god, international. I guess I am.
Yes, that's
I
it.
guess I am.
You've performed in Canada, you've performed here. Have
That's
you performed in
2
any other countries?
No.
Oh, okay. There you go.
But still, like, yes.
Yeah.
Technically.
2 is more than me.
Yeah.
two is more than one.
That means a lot coming from you.
No, well, that's right, because I've, never done it. So there you go.
Thank you so much for coming on the podcast. Do you want to go through your history with Doctor Who?
Oh my god. I basically forced my way onto this podcast because you told me about it and I was like, you know what? Like I think I unloaded on you that I had used to dress up as Amy Pond in the 10th Doctor.
Yeah, we were comparing cosplay pictures and you didn't force yourself. I was like, you have to be on this podcast now. And I put the idea out and then you got super excited. I was like, okay, cool. Okay, I could be excited too now. Okay, sweet.
Like you casually mentioned it and I was like, I don't know if he's serious. And I listened to one of the episodes. I listened to the Father's Day episode.
Yeah, with Miss Martin, yeah.
That was really fun. And then I like immediately messaged Adam. I was like, I really liked the episode. Like hint, hint.
Yeah.
Get me on.
Yeah. My room was covered in posters, like Dalek posters. I had a Matt Smith poster. I had a life-size Amy Pond cutout.
Oh, wow.
That I took formal photos with.
Oh, that's so cool.
You know, I could fight you for the Matt Smith poster because I loved Matt Smith.
Oh,
but
yeah.
this is the first time we've had a guest that we haven't had to handcuff and kidnap and bring here. So this is fantastic.
Okay, well, I thought you were going to say this is the first time we had a guest where we haven't had to explain, like, everything in the episode.
No, it's just the first one we haven't had to force to come
The
here.
Nick Carr episode, I think, is cut half an hour of it just explaining to him, like, the relationship between Amy, Rory, and the Doctor.
I like it, but I like it when we get to do that. I like the variety of people who are mad for it and then the people who don't know it, who ask questions and you think, oh, you know, that's a decent question to ask.
Yeah, but if you're a super fan like us, then you get put to the top of the list. Because there's people I've been meaning to get on for like months, but I was like, no, I'm going to ask Rebecca first.
I really appreciate that.
You should see the cosplay. It's really cool.
Yeah?
Like your cosplay.
Oh, yeah.
You'll
I've
have
seen
to
it,
show us later.
I will send you photos.
Good.
It's fantastic.
We like it.
How did you first get into Doctor Who?
My dad grew up with it, as most dads did. And I remember we were watching the new season when it first came out. I think it was the second episode where they were on like the spaceship and it had Britney Spears' Toxic.
Oh,
that
yes,
one.
with the blue people.
Yeah, amazing.
Yes.
And I was hooked from then. But shout out to my dad. That started a whole thing.
Yeah, good on him.
He's very excited that I'm on this podcast.
That's awesome.
Well, you just tell him that he's got fantastic taste because he loves Doctor Who. I was a classic Doctor Who fan as well, so, you know.
My dad was not into Doctor Who because Doctor Who was on at 6, and so he would want to watch the news, the Channel 10 news or whatever.
I tried so hard, as I say, to get my kids into Doctor Who. I think I tried too hard, and now they just don't watch it.
I often think that if I ever have kids one day, they're going to turn out to be like football stars.
Yeah.
And I'll be like, no, come on, sit down and play board games. And they're like, no, man, I just want to exercise all the time. I'm like, I don't know who you are.
I'm going to go to medical school. Fuck you, Dad.
No, become a nerd like me and do this.
Do you want to go to medical school because of Star Trek? No, it's because I'm going to earn like heaps of money and get a tan and shit. No.
No, my kids are as far from sci-fi fans as you can get, and I worked hard.
I'm so sorry.
I know they have turned out to be quite the disappointment to me, but, I'm getting over it. I've got a niece who hooked herself in without me trying, so I'm happy with that.
You have a new
she's
daughter.
your real daughter.
Yeah, she's my real daughter. Hey, Meg, you're my real daughter.
It skips a generation.
It does.
It skips a couple of people.
I don't mean it, Ella, honey.
Does she listen to the podcast?
Ella listens sometimes, probably when I nag her a lot, and Meg listens as well, so...
We start as we always do with Doctor Who in real life, or D-Whirl, as we like to call
D-Whirl.
it. Give it a D-Whirl. We've talked about Christopher Eccleston quite a bit recently, and not just because we did the first season. It seems that Eccleston's attitude towards Doctor Who has changed somewhat, and that might have to do with him admitting to his problems and getting help for them. And obviously, we recommend that you do seek professional help.
Absolutely. Don't think that there's something wrong with you. It's like if you've got anything, even diabetes, you can't fix it on your own.
Yeah.
Go talk to someone.
Are we about to talk about therapy? I am
No.
all about therapy. Bit of a plug for therapy.
Yeah, I've done therapy, and it's
I've done
great.
therapy, yeah.
There shouldn't be a stigma around it. That's
No,
for sure.
there shouldn't be. But anyway, there
we
is,
just wanted to lightly
sadly.
touch on that because obviously Christopher Eccleston has released his autobiography and has admitted that
Depression and...
anorexia.
Anorexia.
Oh,
Yeah,
wow.
which is why he
During Doctor
was
Who.
so cranky.
as well.
no.
Yeah.
Well, through most of his life. Like, he literally only got help in 2016, I think it was.
Yeah.
Crazy.
Yeah. Well, because there's a stigma around it. And,
Oh, yeah.
you
And
know.
he's a working class northern
Yep.
guy, so
Yep.
it was more stigma around it for him.
Yeah, absolutely.
Well, Eccleston is set to make his North American convention appearance at Gallifrey 1 in Los Angeles.
Wow.
This year's convention is called the 31 Flavors of Gallifrey 1, due to being the 31st year of the convention, and will be held from February the 14th to the 16th, 2020.
The
Valentine's
Day.
Oh,
Yeah,
no,
wouldn't
but
that be sweet?
The 31st convention.
Yeah,
They've had 30.
31 years, yeah.
Wow. And you don't, before the internet and things like that, I didn't know any of this existed. I didn't know that there were conventions, fan clubs, anything like that.
I read that it was the 31st year before I read where it was. So I assumed it was in the UK because I was like, can't be North America. That's crazy.
Yeah.
And then I was like, oh my God, North America's had a Doctor Who convention for 31 years.
There you
That's
go.
Oh, they're a
crazy.
bunch of nerds.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Woo.
and we love them.
So tickets for the 2020 convention went on sale in April. Eccleston was announced as a guest on September 26th, 5 months after tickets went on sale, and you could still buy tickets. Less than 1 week later, on October the 2nd, tickets had completely sold out.
Yeah.
That makes sense.
People are excited to see Eccleston.
I would love to meet him. I would
Yeah.
love to get a photo with him, even though, when you get a photo op with anyone from Doctor Who, it's like the worst one-night stand. You're just in there, they give you a quick, arm around you, and then you're out, and you've been replaced immediately.
Yeah, we had a photo with John Barrowman, and
We were lucky. We got 2.
yeah, we had these lofty ideas of like, oh, we're going to tell him all about the podcast
you
and have a
just-
little tete-a-tete with him, and then,
Yeah.
we just basically got herded in, like...
Yeah. And, it's like he said to me, 13, and I had all these things I should have said, and I just went,
yeah.
because I'm a dickhead around famous people. And then off we went.
Yeah.
But anyway.
Joining Eccleston will be Peter Davison, Janet Fielding, Sarah Sutton, Mark Strickson,
Wow.
Fraser Hines, Joy Wilkinson, the writer of The Witchfinders,
Yep.
Vinay Patel, the writer of Demons of the Punjab, and many others, including comic book artists, writers, and crew.
Peter is at every goddamn supernova.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He loves it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I love that they still love that. It's great. I can't stand those people who they're made famous by something and they're like, I don't want to talk about it anymore, as if they're too good for it. Where the Doctor, look at, there's Nissa. Who's in the lineup? There's Nissa.
Yeah, Tegan,
there's-
Nissa, Turlough,
Turlough.
Jamie McCrimmon.
Yeah, Jamie. Yeah.
I
That's
would love
great.
to do that, to do one episode of a sci-fi show and then just do conventions. for the rest of my life. It'd be amazing.
Geez, it'd have to be one bloody good episode.
Not necessarily, not for me to try and milk it. I would be like James Masters. I'd be here every year.
Yeah, I was yeoman, third yeoman.
Especially if it was like Doctor Who or Star Wars. I could just milk that. As long as I had an action figure made of me, I would be milking it as much as I could.
Yeah, I would have to have had a substantial role.
Do they make action figures of podcasts?
I don't think so.
No,
I don't
we
think
should
so.
start that.
But I was just working with Rebecca Rigg, and she was in Farscape, and Farscape have just had their 25th anniversary, and it was America that had a big convention for them, and she went over to LA for that convention.
Where was Farscape?
Farscape was an Australian-made show.
Oh, was it? Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I've heard of Farscape. I never watched it.
A lot of great actors. She played the villain. She came in about the third series. Cannot remember the character's name, which drives me nuts, but I can see her. Lovely person. But yeah, just goes over, and she said the fans are great. You know, they absolutely adore you and they remember the show. So, and Farscape was, I liked it.
I remember hearing about it, but I never watched it.
Really? It was sci-fi?
Yeah, but...
Is that because it was Australian sci-fi?
No, in the 90s there was a lot of sci-fi. I was watching Sliders and Stargate, SG-1. Those were my two. I didn't even get into Doctor Who until much later.
I didn't get into Stargate, but I did like Sliders.
My dad was a big Farscape fan and a big Stargate fan. All the Stargates, SG-1, SG-2, SG-3,
SG-4,
Prometheus,
SG Atlantis, SG... I don't know. I only know because I see lists of things somewhere. They weren't me.
Stargate, Deep Space Nine, all of those series.
Fellowship of the
Gates, yeah.
What about you, Becktech? Were you into sci-fi?
Which Stargate were you into? Stargate of the Hot Boys?
No.
I mean, which was the original Stargate? I mean, if you consider MacGyver hot, which... Yeah, okay, anyway.
The movie was great. It had James Spader in it.
Yeah, I love the movie. I used to watch it all the time.
Yeah, I like James Spader. What about you?
I really wasn't into anything. I mean, I got into Red Dwarf when I was in year 10.
Yeah.
But...
So Red Dwarf was really your sci-fi intro, wasn't it? Sci-fi and comedy together.
Yeah, well, I first saw it when I was in year 10, but I didn't see that much. And then I started getting into Doctor Who first, and then I went back to Red Dwarf and watched all of that. Yeah, I've kind of just sort of swapped.
Yeah.
Over and over again, basically.
I mean, you don't like... I never like everything that's sci-fi. It's got to...
Yeah.
I'll give everything go, but not everything. And nothing ever compares to Doctor Who, ever in my life.
That's why we do the podcast, and we're not doing a Farscape podcast.
Yeah, besides Doctor Who and Red Dwarf, I'm not really into sci-fi all that much.
Yeah.
Surprisingly.
Yeah, that's fine. Don't have to be.
All right.
What was that for?
I was going to make a joke, and then I decided not to. Anyway.
So dismissive.
No, there was going to be a joke.
That's my nickname, dismissive.
Who said that?
The dismissive. Our episode today is School Reunion Season 2, Episode 3, written by Toby Whithouse and directed by James Hawes. Originally broadcast on the BBC Saturday, April 29th, 2006. We'll start, as we always do, with a short synopsis. The Doctor and Rose are working at Deffrey Vale High School after Mickey alerts them to investigate the school. There's a new principal, new cafeteria staff, and half the teachers are new, but the children are so well behaved and seem to be smarter than ever. Perhaps too smart. But in the middle of the investigation, John Smith will meet companions from his past, and Rose will have to question what happens when you stop travelling with the Doctor.
Just so excited about watching this one, but knew it'd make me cry. So I was ready for the crying because huge Sarah, as you know.
Yeah, so obviously this is the
Sarah
episode
fan.
everyone knows Sarah Jane from the classic series comes back.
I don't know why, but she is the most iconic companion.
That's why Russell T Davies wanted her in the episode.
Yeah, I know. I mean, I thought she was fantastic, but she is the one that everyone thinks of.
It's interesting to me that you found it emotional because I remember watching it for the first time with my dad and he was like, oh my God, it's Sarah Jane, K9, amazing. And I'd never seen the classic series, so I was like, this is weird.
Yeah. But watching it now, when we've started watching some of the classic episodes, it's like, oh, it's really cool that we've got this connection with the past, you know. But yeah, when I first watched it, I was like, okay, cool. Is that like, it must be his old companion or something? Well, whatever.
Oh, really?
I'm never going to watch those episodes.
Oh, wow. No, it was wonderful that they gave this nod to the classic Who fans. because we all loved Sarah and we all wanted to know what happened to her. But the other thing about it, it was really good to look at the fact that the companion, like Rose, is great, but she's actually not special. None of them are, because they are all replaced at some point.
Oh, yeah. The Doctor is a creep.
Yeah. He's a serial monogamist, isn't he?
Oh, my God, yes.
Yep.
She's 18.
Yeah.
And he's 900.
Yeah. That's even at 24, I would feel deeply uncomfortable about dating an 18-year-old, and that's essentially what he's doing.
Well, Eccleston was even like, he is like was in his 40s when he was doing the role, and she's actually a little bit older than 19, Billie Piper, but it's still like, it's that Hollywood thing of, oh, this is acceptable, a 40-year-old man and his 20-year-old lover.
But it's not sexual. It is more than sexual. It's more than best friends with benefits,
and
or
she's
best
really
friends.
mature for her age.
Yeah.
But the Doctor and the companion, I do think that they made Billie too young. I mean, she's older. They should have had her older in it. But yeah, I always thought the companion and the Doctor, certainly from the classics, it was just this special, fantastic friendship that meant something more than love, more than sex, more than friendship, I guess.
Yeah. It worked in the Bill Potts season because you knew like they weren't going to try and hook up. And that would have been weird because she was in her 20s and he was in his like 60s.
Yeah. And it worked for Sarah and the Doctor. But they played it very asexual as well, just best friends. He would always say, this is Sarah Jane, my very best friend. But what I like about it is they're preparing the audience to let them know that Rose ain't hanging around forever because companions come and go.
Eventually she's going to be too expensive. As they all are, they get replaced.
You know, eventually she'll leave. Companions go. And also for her to see what is the aftermath of getting dropped at the wrong place for Sarah. After all of that, how do you go back to a normal life? And do you spend your life waiting for him to turn back up? Because I would have.
Yeah, absolutely.
It's kind of the worst example to have on the show because the Doctor had to kick her out of the TARDIS because he was being recalled back to Gallifrey.
Yeah.
But he left her in the wrong place.
Yeah, he didn't realise.
Any other companion had been like, oh yeah, I chose to leave. Yeah. Because most of his companions choose to leave.
Yeah.
But then the Doctor doesn't want to be like, look, out of all of my companions, like Sarah is just one of many. And he, excuse me, what? Yeah, look, I've made it worse. Don't.
But I also think it works because Sarah would never have chosen to leave.
No.
And the Doctor would never have kicked her out if he didn't have to.
Rose would never have chosen to leave either.
No, that's right. And that's why they're the two good companions to have together, because neither of them would have gone if they had a choice. Yeah. Although nor would have Donna, but anyway.
At Deffrey Vale High School, an orphan student has been sent to the office of Mr. Finch, the new principal. Realising the student has no one to miss them, Mr. Finch invites the student in for lunch.
Isn't Mr. Finch creepy?
We welcome our first guest star, Anthony Stewart Head.
Oh, I get Twin Peaks vibes from him.
Yes,
Very creepy.
But I obviously I know him best as Giles from Buffy.
Yeah, me too.
I used to watch that religiously when I was younger.
He's such a good bad guy, and he's really loving it. He's really getting into it.
He knows what show he's in, and he is just languishing in it.
It's a pity to a degree that they didn't put him in another one because the story is almost superfluous to what's going on with Sarah, K9, and Rose and Mickey.
It's definitely backseat to
that. And any other episode, he would have just stood out and you would have gone, oh my God, he's fantastic.
Well, if it had been any other actor, like we probably wouldn't even be bothered with the,
Yeah, that's true.
Because the others, the Krillitanes just kind of meld into each other.
Yeah, there's one of them that I always remember. He's the teacher.
The main teacher?
Yeah, the main teacher.
Yeah.
I remember him. I don't know who the actor's name is, but I remember him. But Anthony Head. Whew,
yeah.
whew.
Oh, so good. So good.
Takes it over.
And because I forgot, obviously I haven't watched this episode for a while, so I thought the thing was, these creatures are there to eat the children. To make them smart and then eat the children.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking. Are they tastier when they're smarter?
Yeah.
Maybe.
Yeah, or they get smarter when they eat the children because they're smart, like something along those lines. I'd forgotten that there's this other thing kind of tacked on at the end of like, there's this thing we're trying to figure out.
Yeah, they're using not just their minds, but their souls.
That was hilarious.
Yeah. So, Doctor, do you mean we have souls? Like, because this is huge. Like,
yeah.
Forget all your sci-fi stuff. We have souls. That's amazing.
Yep. Imagination souls.
In a physics classroom, their teacher enters and tells the kids to sit down. It's the 10th Doctor, guys! Oh, my God!
With his glasses.
Yeah.
Correctamundo.
I'm never going to say that again.
I believe that that's a term. Well, I've heard it a lot in Red Dwarf. Becktech can tell me. Isn't it one that, not Lister?
I used to use Correctamundo when I was a teenager. Because I was cool, guys. I was real cool. I was so cool when I was a teenager.
Correctamundo.
Yeah.
Sorry, ignore that. I just read a reference to it from Red Dwarf.
Are you sure?
I've
yes.
never
Are
heard
you positive?
it.
Yes.
Oh,
Only
there you
fools
go.
are positive. Are you sure? Yes. Are you positive? Yes. Oh, you got me!
Correctamundo.
That's from Fern Gully, because I was real cool, guys.
God, you were. How's Blinky Bill? Sorry, he wasn't in Fern
That was
Gully.
I think that was the first movie I saw in the cinemas.
Blinky
was
Bill.
Blinky Bill, yeah.
Well, there you go.
Mine was one of the Pokemon movies. Thanks for asking.
The original Pokemon movie?
I think so.
Wow.
I don't know. I don't. When did that come out?
2000?
It would have been that one.
Okay, all right.
Well, can I just sadly say I don't remember mine, but the first movie I was taken to was Mary Poppins.
Aww.
Oh, I don't remember a thing about it, but there you go. It was at the drive-in. My parents were probably doing it in the back.
So that was the first movie you were taken to, but you don't know what the first movie you saw in the cinema was? You went to a movie
no,
before
that's
that by yourself?
Yeah.
No one took you to it?
I saw quite a few.
Yeah, no one took you to it.
Yeah, like at about 6 months, up to 3, I went to a lot of movies on my own.
All right, my baby, I got to check out this Pulp Fiction, eh?
Oh, you've got to see this Rocky Horror movie, I said to myself.
One of the students, Milo, is way smarter than a human child should be. Apparently, seems to be the only one. Apparently, Milo is eating more chips than anyone else.
Yeah, Milo is obviously pigging out on the chips.
Whilst the Doctor is teaching, Rose is working in the cafeteria. The 12th Doctor would go on to have a companion who genuinely worked in the college cafeteria dispensing chips.
Yes. But what's interesting, and this was one thing that I picked up, all the dinner people have been replaced, but Rose, not
Yeah.
Rose. Rose
Yeah, they're
is
just
the
cool
only
with Rose being there.
non-Krillatane in there.
Because they say later on that the teacher
Yeah.
that John Smith is replacing won a lottery ticket. And I'm like, who's Rose replacing then?
Well, they've all gone. So I'm not sure how she got in when everyone else in the dinner area, kitchen area, is a Krillatane except Rose.
Yeah.
Anyway.
I think it was just written to be a funny joke.
Yeah.
And they didn't actually think about that.
That's all right.
What job she would have actually had if they were trying to infiltrate the school.
Great, she's a dinner lady.
She'd probably be like phys ed or something.
Yeah, maybe.
But yeah, I don't know why she's a dinner lady. Maybe they thought that's just easier for her to...
Oh, no, I think it was a joke because she didn't want to be a dinner lady because...
I mean, if we really want to think about it, the Doctor actually doesn't have a teaching degree, so how did he get his job?
He probably has quite a few teaching degrees from different planets. He must have an Earth
Wouldn't
one
he
somewhere.
have just used his paper thing?
Yeah,
that's
psychic
like,
paper, yeah. Maybe that's what they did for Rose. They were just like, she's a dinner lady. Like, oh, okay, I don't remember issuing that, but sure.
Surely they could have come up with a better job for her to be qualified to do.
But I did like the fact that we start right in the middle of the action. I like that. So we didn't have to see all the TARDIS lands. Mickey tells them the thing.
Yeah.
I like the fact that we just got to the point. I like that.
But because we're doing a podcast, we are questioning it after the fact.
Oh, yeah, of course we do. That's what we do.
Head dinner lady Mrs. Jackson states that the chips are part of the menu that has been specifically designed by the headmaster to improve concentration and performance. It's a good thing Jamie Oliver doesn't get wind of this. Otherwise, he would have taken away their chips.
And the chips apparently were delicious because Rose kept eating them.
Yeah.
They looked really good.
Yeah.
Like when they did that first shot of the food, I was like, yeah, that would have been amazing.
I remembered it was something about the chips that were making like it was the oil of the chips that were making the kids smarter.
Yeah.
And I thought when they were in the cafe later on, I thought she was going to eat the chips and be like, oh, they don't taste the same. But she doesn't do that. They, she does. They do briefly say that the chips taste different at the school, but...
The doctor says that. He says, I don't really like them. And she goes, oh, I love them. I can't stop. But they did. They looked like they were crunchy on the outside and soft in the middle.
They were very well lit chips.
Almost a food
As we
ad.
know, food in food commercials isn't real food. So ice cream in food commercials is potato.
Really?
Milk is glue.
Lovely.
Yeah.
Really?
When they do a chicken, like a roast chicken or a hamburger or something, they literally get a blowtorch and just cook the outside of the meat. So the inside is completely raw.
Trump was right. Fake media. That fake media.
Yeah. I don't know if this is the perfect time to tell you, but advertising isn't 100% real. I don't know if you know this.
Oh my
Yeah.
God.
Yeah.
All right.
That puppy actually doesn't like rolling around in toilet paper.
Well, I'm not getting one now.
You're not getting a puppy or a toilet roll?
No, either.
Okay, all right.
What do I need either of them for if they're not going to be cute?
Mr. Wagner informs Melissa that she'll be joining his top-level class as Milo has failed him. You know Milo, the kid we literally saw in the last scene? Apparently since then he's been moved to the top class, failed and been eaten, presumably.
Yeah, so apparently there was a whole backstory about the oil makes the kids sick eventually.
Oh.
But it got cut out, but that's why the girl's there with a headache. And that's why Milo because they eventually wear them out. They get too sick, then they eat them and bring in new ones.
Right.
I had to read about that to try and work out what was going on.
Because someone does say, there's a lot of kids being ill a lot of the time.
Yeah.
And I thought that was just their excuse for them eating them.
No, there was a thread in there, but it kind of got cut in all the other stuff.
That makes way more sense
Yeah,
then. But still, like we literally just saw Milo in the previous scene.
Yeah.
And yet somehow he has been worked so hard that he's become ill and eaten already.
Yeah, and maybe they could have just shown a few more sick kids and we could have started to work it out. But anyway.
It does make sense, though, that, like, the smartest kid in the class, they would be like, he's ready.
Yeah.
Let's do whatever we do with the ready kids.
Like, we instead of following Melissa, we should have been following Milo as he moved up to the next class.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Milo would have been a bit more interesting to see what had happened, or whether Milo ends up at the headmaster's thing and then no more Milo.
Well, because Melissa didn't answer any of the questions in the previous class, so, but apparently she's ready to move up now.
I know. I think they just preferred it.
And it is a bit creepy, just teachers walking around, like, leering over students, being like, you're going to come join my class now.
Oh, that was so gross at the beginning when he was like, this little girl, let's go into my office and have lunch.
Yes, creepy.
Oh.
And it's
You wouldn't get away with it now.
I was going to say, it's only okay because we know that he's an alien who's going to eat her, you know?
Yeah.
He's not gonna, yes, it's not going to get bad.
One or two women on the writers' team.
Yeah,
Yeah.
would have
Well,
picked that up.
That I watched the Doctor Who Confidential episode that goes with this episode, and oh my god, the only woman who appears in the Confidential episode is Elizabeth Sladen.
Oh, really?
There's no women on the writing team. There's no women on the crew.
Oh, there was Sue in catering.
Yeah. Well, and in the episode, all of the dinner ladies are women and all of the teachers are men. There's no female teachers.
I know.
And I know later on they refer to the aliens as brothers, so, like, they're all, but, yeah, could have had a couple of female teachers at least.
Yeah, well, maybe the Krillitane are only men and they don't need
But
to...
the dinner ladies would...
Oh, yeah, that's true.
Yeah. And I assume that's because they just wanted to make the joke of dinner ladies, but they still could have had a guy working in the cafeteria.
Ooh. Geez, I didn't pick up on that. My feminist radar must have been down that.
Well, I was a little bit worried because obviously when Rose and Sarah Jane meet each other, they are full on bitching at each other straight away. And I was like, I actually feel a little bit uncomfortable watching this.
Yeah.
Like,
for no reason.
yeah. Well, it's because they're fighting over the doctor. And I'm like, oh my God.
I can't believe you would have other friends in the 100 years before you knew me.
Yeah, I know.
You would think that they would kind of bond and be like, oh, you travel with the doctor? Oh my God, that's so cool, blah, blah, blah. Or what? He's never mentioned you. Like that realization of like, oh my God, does abandon us.
See, what's interesting is Rose does have a jealous streak.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
And we know that.
Yeah, because she's 18.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah, she's young.
Yeah.
And, you know.
A really young woman.
Yeah.
Young.
But what I like is she says to him, you've taken me to the end of the world, but this is a really good insight into what my future is. I hate the fact that they can't have women get on.
Well, I was a bit worried, and I actually looked into it to see if this episode passes the Bechdel test, and it does barely.
Yeah.
Barely.
What was the line?
It depends on, so the head dinner lady technically has a character name. Her name is Mrs. Jackson, but it's never used in the episode. Ugh. So technically that conversation that they have between Rose and Mrs. Jackson where she's calling the ambulance. So there's those lines. And then it depends on if you count when Sarah Jane and Rose are insulting each other.
But they're talking about a man.
Yeah, so I don't include those. So basically it's
count.
Technically that one conversation that happens between Rose and Mrs. Jackson.
It did, even the first time I saw it, it got my back up because I'm going, you shut up, Rose, because Sarah was here before you because I'm a Sarah fan. But I'm glad that they stopped it. Although I did like Mickey and his I told you so dance.
Yeah. And that becomes more obvious when you watch The Confidential, and it's just Russell T Davies and the writer's a man, and like everyone who worked, the director's a man, and they're all just going like, it's so funny watching two women fight over the doctor, and I'm like, boy.
I know.
Was this the episode where when Rose and Sarah have to start laughing, David Tennant wore a mustache?
Yeah.
I just remembered that bit of trivia from like years ago. It's all there.
Yeah.
It's funny. Yeah, it is.
He was wearing a fake mustache.
Fake mustache to make them laugh.
Wish we had the video from that just to see what he looked like. That would be amazing.
And the look on Rose's face when he gives Sarah the sonic screwdriver. Not Rose.
Oh, I didn't see that.
Oh, she just...
The thing that gets me is what Rose's face when she first meets Sarah. And she's like, let me check. Nope, never mentioned you.
Yeah, it's really passive aggressive.
Oh, the look on her face is just like, so gross, you know?
I just think they could have done Rose in a different way, but then I thought to myself, well, she is 18, 19. You are a bit of a passive-aggressive dick at that age.
There is a way to make women feel jealousy without lashing out.
Yes.
And having a catty fight.
Yeah.
It's gross.
Yeah.
I did sort of, I could hear in the background in the 80s, when two women had started arguing and you just hear men yell out, "Cat fight!" and everyone would run. And I'd go, oh, God, thanks, guys.
In the kitchen, Rose notices the dinner ladies, because there doesn't appear to be any men working in the kitchen, transporting some cooking oil like it's radioactive waste. It spills and starts burning one of them. Now, usually when you transport something deadly, you make sure it's sealed.
Yeah.
You don't leave it open as you're transporting it.
What are they just like in a rush?
Yeah.
I didn't quite get why it's leaking all over the place.
Yeah. The first thing you'd be like, can we actually put the cap in?
Yeah.
This stuff burns us.
Yeah.
Rose goes to call the ambulance, but is assured that the victim is okay, even as they burst into flames and are never seen
I love
ever
this
again.
part because she's on her phone. The woman comes in from the other room and says, "Don't call the ambulance," basically. The woman goes away and Rose puts her phone in her pocket.
Yeah.
She's like, "Oh, okay."
Yeah, and then the woman bursts into flames.
Yeah.
But then never, she only tells the doctor when prompted. Oh yeah, by the way, the oil actually burns them.
Yeah.
You would be like, okay, I'm not going to call the ambulance because I'm going to tell the doctor.
Yeah.
But she just waits.
She was like, "Oh, that was weird."
I'll keep that one to myself.
And at this point, she thinks that woman was a human woman.
Yeah, yeah. She thinks the oil made a human person burst into flames.
And then she was like, "Oh, this is not my business."
Yeah. I won't tell the doctor that someone's just been murdered by this oil that we use, and she knows it's used on the chips too.
Yeah.
Because she works in the dinner thing. She continues eating them chips though.
I don't quite understand why she has to be prompted for this information, but anyway, it works better, I guess.
I think either the dinner ladies think Rose is really trusting, or they think that she's super thick. Because remember, they're like, well, this is a human person who's in with us. She just saw a woman burst into flames.
She's
so either
thick.
She's super dumb, or she's really trusting. Because...
Yeah.
You know, you would go to Mr. Finch and be like, "Oh yeah, by the way, one of the humans saw us getting touched by the oil."
That new dinner lady, Rose, she's dumb as a box of hair, okay? Gets nothing.
Well, it happens later on when Kenny sees the teacher in his true form, and then he stands up and he's like, "Run away, Kenny." It's like, you are literally eating a child and someone saw you in your true form. Why did you not just eat that child and get rid of the evidence?
Yeah.
You know? You let him run away.
The head teacher is as dumb as a box of hair as well. There you go. There's a lot of dummies on this thing.
I guess the doors were locked because Kenny couldn't get out of the school.
No, well, that was before the doors were locked.
So Kenny just sees that and he's like, "Oh, this is weird. Better go investigate."
Yeah. And that's why he doesn't go into the class when everyone goes back to class. And remember, he says he doesn't eat the chips. He's not allowed to eat the chips.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah. He's on a diet, and some sort of food diet.
This kid who's maybe got a little bit more weight than other kids, but he's not super fat.
No,
his parents are putting him on a diet.
Yeah.
There's a bit of fat shaming in this episode too. When Mickey goes to Rose, better cut down on the chips. It's like,
whoa,
Jesus,
I know.
Rose should be like, hey, he likes me for me, thank you very much.
It's nothing to do with my size, Mickey.
Yeah, that was triggering for me.
They have such a horrible relationship.
They do.
It's so toxic.
Very toxic.
That's why they play that Britney Spears song.
Yeah. It's a theme for the whole. Yeah. If they could use that as a theme song, if they didn't already have a theme song, that would be the theme song.
That's their love song.
In Mr. Wagner's Wagner's class, the kids are involved in a very strange lesson, tapping away at their keyboards with headphones on as green cubes swirl on their screens.
The graphic designers for this episode, like they have to do when the Mickey's hacking, they do the classified and then the green cube that sort of floats around. Oh, I would have had fun with that.
Yeah.
I just don't know what the kids are doing. Are they just typing?
They're typing.
Yeah, I don't know.
They're
I don't either.
hacking.
And I love that hacking is just stabbing at the keyboard.
They're unlocking the key to the universe. Is that it?
They're unlocking the theory of everything, basically.
Okay, cool.
And whenever I see people like pretend to type on a keyboard, it always reminds me of there's a scene in NCIS where someone's hacking into their system
And two
people are using the same keyboard.
Yes.
Because it's twice as fast as one person using the keyboard.
Was this the same episode where...
Oh, that's all I know from that episode.
They were chasing someone in a video game. There was like a Second Life character.
Right.
And the Second Life guy like tries to fly away and they do a chase.
Yeah.
But like the guy could have just logged off.
Yeah.
Oh, that show.
Oh, I love stuff like that.
Why don't we log off? No.
Yeah.
Let's go together.
I'm going to lose my character. I haven't saved in like 2 hours, guys.
But it's like fake drinking. You
Yeah.
know, I hate it when people fake drink. You
Yeah.
know, they pretend to drink and you can tell.
You have to swallow. You have to swallow when you fake drink.
Yeah, that's the...
Or when people drink alcohol, like they do a shot and it's like totally fine. It's like, no, alcohol burns your throat.
Yeah.
Make a face. Make a little face.
Yeah.
A little one.
Even if you're an alcoholic, you're still going to have a reaction.
That's right, because metho hurts.
Look, the kids of today won't unlock the secrets of the universe, but they will crush you at Fortnite. Noob.
Mm-hmm.
The graphic design reminds me of when... Do you remember when computers had monitors that were only in one color?
Yeah, the monochrome.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We had one that was that same green, and we used to play like Rampage on it, and yeah.
Yeah,
I
that
do
was...
not remember this.
I'm sorry,
crazy.
that was every computer I ever saw in my first few years of life.
We started off with a monitor that was orange, so everything we saw was orange.
Whoa.
And then that broke, so we got another one, and everything we saw was green in that. Yeah, it was crazy.
That would have been an adjustment.
I could never understand computer games because my dad bought me this one, I don't know, forget what it was, 4 hours, an Atari or I don't know, whatever it was, but it was tennis.
Pong.
And it would go, bop,
Yeah.
bop, but I think, good God, this is boring, you know. Thanks, Dad, but 10 minutes later, I'm so bored. Bop.
Yeah, I mean, you say that, but I mean, you're on the charts as one of the top GTA players. So,
yeah. I call it the bop bop game. I don't know
bop
what
game.
it's called.
Yeah, but in GTA, you're running around bopping cops.
Yeah.
So,
I'm bopping it.
Bop cop.
Oh, bop cop.
You call it bop cop. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. I have no idea if that's rude or not.
Yes.
Oh, okay.
Context clues, yes.
Okay, thanks.
Mr. Finch is showing around a reporter, Sarah Jane Smith.
Oh, my little heart melted.
Yeah, she's doing a profile on him. Why is Mr. Finch, an alien from another planet, so interested in Earth publicity?
I think they're trying to get more kids into the school. So if they get smarter kids, then they won't have to feed them as much oil. So they'll be able to unlock the universe quicker and they won't die like Milo. Pathetic Milo who died from too much oil.
His body was
what
too
a little
weak.
shit.
Yeah. Milo wasn't as good as
They have a
everyone
poster
thought.
of Milo and like, if you're better than this kid, come to our school.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So the publicity is good for them.
Well, it seems like he's kind of proud of like, oh, she's doing a profile on me. And like he's proud of his techniques, but it's like, you know it's just the oil that's making the kid smart. Not your techniques, nothing like that.
Yeah, I know, but they will be the masters of the universe once the kids unlock it. They'll probably just eat all the kids. They don't care. And then they'll be running the everything. And I love the way that Sarah Jane, she's fawning over him a little. Oh, yes, blah, blah. And you know she doesn't mean any of it.
No.
She's going to be getting an expose.
The doctor, John Smith gets nervous around Sarah Jane, but of course she doesn't recognise his current face. Aww.
I love the way she says, I used to travel with a man called John Smith.
Yeah.
He says, oh, it's a very, what is it? It's a very common name. She said he was a very uncommon man.
But she goes, hi, how are you? And he goes, oh, yes, I should have suppose so. Like he's
He's like this idiot, isn't he?
Yeah, well, the doctor, or more likely David Tennant, fanboys over Sarah Jane.
I love that so many years later, she's still talking about him like he's an ex.
Yeah.
Like, I used to know someone who liked to drink coffee.
I think he's someone that's obviously would be irreplaceable.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, even when you saw the Capaldi and the Clara Christmas special, when she was really old in his dream with the crabs, and he says, "You never married?" She said, "I never found anyone that lived up to." And I thought
Sarah Jane says
Sarah
the same
Jane
thing
does
here.
as
Oh
well.
my God.
Yeah. I know it would change.
Basically, if the doctor doesn't fall in love with you and get you a half-human clone, then you are barren for the rest of your life.
Yeah. Oh, hey, not Martha.
Did Sarah Jane have a son in the spin-off? I never watched it.
She did.
But he was an alien.
Yes.
Yeah. She
Oh.
adopted him or brought him in. Yeah.
Oh, that's cute.
Yeah. He was a humanoid alien kid.
Yeah, because I remember that as well. I'm like, oh, who?
Luke.
Maybe her husband died or something, but no,
No.
he's adopted.
Maybe she just had some casual rebounds.
Yeah.
She's a woman. She has needs.
Yeah, exactly.
She doesn't have to get married and have kids.
They
Who
never
said
addressed that.
everyone
She's like,
has to do that?
Look, I never found the one, but I had a bunch of casual sex,
Yeah,
and it
that's
was
right.
great.
Yeah. And she travelled the world and she investigated. You don't need to have a partner to have a great life.
No, of course not.
That's sweet.
I have one and I have a great life, so I can say that.
Yeah, rub it in some more.
But you don't have to.
That night, Sarah Jane and the Hoobie gang are investigating the school. Rose gets a sample of the oil, Mickey checks out the maths room, and the doctor and Sarah head to the headmaster's office, but are drawn by screeching.
The thing that gets me is she walks into that room, she sees the TARDIS, and the look on her face.
And the music.
She's scared.
It's so creepy.
She's overwhelmed, I think.
Well, she knows what that, like, because it's a police box
She
where it
knows.
shouldn't be, and she 100% knows that is.
And then she walks out, and then the doctor's sitting there and he's very serious.
The music that went with that was very accurate to me
Yes.
because the doctor acts like a stalker, basically.
Yeah.
He spends a lot of time in England. Like, oh, the universe, I just happen to be passing through all the time. Sarah's working at this school? What?
I like to think that he, when he did his tour at the end, before he regenerated into Matt Smith, I like to think the doctor occasionally drops in just to check how everyone's going, make sure they're okay. Maybe they don't see him, but
Yeah, I was going to say check in. Check in would imply that he said hello. Stalking would imply that he looked at them down off a cliff and
just checking.
He
Yeah.
absolutely does that.
He's a bit of a stalker.
He checks back in every 10 years and he's like, oh, she's not dating anyone? Fantastic.
Still loves me. I've still
Like
got
with Amy Pond, I have to come in every 2 years to make sure she's still doubting her marriage.
Yeah. And Rory's still screwing everything up.
Well, he can't because they're in the past anyway.
That's true.
Sarah Jane sees the blue police box and realizes that John Smith is actually the doctor with whom she travelled with 30 years ago. It turns out they're both exploring the same strange incidents at the school on exactly the same day, 3 months after they started. What a coinky-dink!
It's the best. Look, it's taken her 10 years to get a coincidence like this. You shut up.
Yeah, she's
30 years, I mean.
The doctor's like, why are you investigating? And she's like, oh, because it was strange. I mean, I wasn't expecting you to be here, that's for sure. I don't explore everything that has aliens and hope for you to be there. I don't do that.
But she's an investigative journalist, and she was before she met him, and she was afterwards. So.
I'd be pretty obsessed with aliens if I'd met them.
Yeah.
Yeah, if you knew they were out there.
Yeah.
Yeah, and you knew it was real, and so you would go looking at that sort of stuff. I mean, Donna's the one who was only doing it so she could meet the doctor again.
But who is she writing the articles for then? Because the rest of humanity, we always get told don't believe in aliens, even though there have been aliens in their face.
Don't know, freelance. And maybe she doesn't think it's aliens.
Or
Maybe
she writes for the crackpot, like,
SRS. Who's the
oh
the
god,
crackpots?
SRS, yeah.
I like to think
Breitbart.
she has like a Tumblr blog.
Ah, that might be it.
Yeah.
She's big on YouTube.
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't know who she writes for, but I don't know if she always finds they're aliens either. She might just find that there's something suspicious.
Do you think she
going
gets
on.
disappointed when they're like, oh, it's just racist? God damn it.
No, I think she still writes the story.
Oh, I think anyone would be disappointed.
To find
by
racist.
So,
Yeah, well,
Yeah.
let's.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, if you find out the person you've been dating is a racist, you're
Yeah.
so disappointed.
Yeah, that would kind of put you off, wouldn't it? Yeah.
A bit of a deal breaker.
Yeah.
Their reunion at school is interrupted by a loud scream. Turns out Mickey has found a supply of vacuum-sealed rats and, like any normal person, screamed his lungs out. But
Yeah.
the doctor, makes fun of him. You're like, oh, you're like a little girl. I'm like, I would have screamed too, thank you very much.
10-year-old little Peters. Yeah, I didn't like that. I didn't think the doctor needed to do that.
Yeah, he's such a cocky fuck.
Yeah, he is.
Especially
He
to
is.
Mickey, you know.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, he's dating Mickey's girlfriend. No, he's
Well, that's the thing.
He kind of is.
Yeah. That's the thing at the end. Rose is not happy when Mickey wants to come on because, she's going to be traveling with her boyfriend and her crush.
Yeah.
How awkward.
But what that made me think is that he's not as invested in his relationship with Rose, the doctor, as she is, because you wouldn't let Mickey come along if you weren't a little bit invested.
Oh, unless you wanted to test it and make sure that she picks you.
God, the doctor
It's a
can be
good
cruel.
way to manipulate the relationship.
Yeah.
Like every time he says something, just undermine him a bit. Like
Yeah.
he's good at that.
That's true. Oh, God. Oh, I'm seeing a side to the doctor I
God.
don't want to see.
Oh my God, is the Doctor Christian Grey? Is that why we love him so much? This is...
No, he's not. Christian Grey's a real dick.
If I've been led to believe that the books are what they are, he's just a walking sentient penis, as far as I know. Anyway.
No, he's a dick, controlling asshole.
I do love in the
anyway.
movies that they got the guy who played the serial killer from The Fall.
Fall.
Yes, to play him. As if they knew, like, oh, this guy is a psychopath. We have to get him to play Christian Grey.
The worst thing is he was amazing in The Fall, and then he picks that. And I think,
I've never seen The Fall.
It's good. It's Gillian Anderson.
Gillian Anderson's in it, and he is amazing in it. And
Creepy as
oh,
fuck.
God, he's good. Yeah, really good.
On the way there, Sarah Jane and Rose meet, and they instantly do not like each other, trading insults as they fight over the Doctor.
Do you think Sarah instantly dislikes her? Oh, she does say, "Oh, I see I've been replaced." Oh,
Yeah.
they're getting younger. That
Yeah.
means you're getting
It would make more sense if they directed their feelings
towards
to the doctor. Like,
not each other.
Well, I think of it as, Sarah Jane, as she says at the end, she has not dated anyone since because the Doctor has always been in her mind. And then she rocks up and she's got a much younger version.
Of
and
her.
it's like, that would be heartbreaking.
It would be, because you always thought you had something special, and I think every companion thinks they have something special. But you can't, as the Doctor says, you can't spend the rest of your life with me.
It's the curse of the Time Lords.
Yeah, the curse of the time.
Oh, I was so excited when he said that.
No wonder the Doctor hates goodbyes, because he's had so bloody many.
Normally the Time Lords don't associate with such a short-living species as
Yeah.
the humans.
Yeah.
It's not the curse of the Time Lord, it's the curse of that one Time Lord.
Who likes them young?
Who likes humans.
How long do butterflies last? 2 days? My pet butterfly. Dead.
It's like a human like falling in love with a butterfly.
Yeah.
Being like, oh, I'm so sorry, butterfly. I can't spend the rest of my life with you.
Yeah.
Oh, you're dead. Anyway, new butterfly.
I always have to have a butterfly with me to say no.
Wherever I go.
This butterfly's a day old. This butterfly's a month old. I'm going to go with this day old butterfly.
I get more use out of it.
Oh, what a metaphor.
But I think the other thing is that what Rose sees is her future, potentially in 30 years. She will be Sarah. She will have been dumped and replaced. But yeah, I think she directs it at the wrong person. Anyway, I like that they do finally get back together, but I hate the fact that apparently women can never be friends.
Yeah. I think the reason I hate Rose in this episode is because she was written by men who aren't really fans of women.
I get that impression. So it's not Rose I don't like. It's the way that they've portrayed her character.
Oh, definitely.
This jealous.
I get what they're trying to do, but it just straight out of the gate, they hate
It makes you
each other.
uncomfortable.
Yeah,
It's
very
what happened with
uncomfortable.
Martha as well. I think the reason people hated Martha so much is because she was written by people who find women shrill.
Yeah,
I think so, and think they must be in love with the man.
Yeah.
Well, that's the thing is, the reason I don't like what happened to Martha is because they literally just came off Rose falling in love with the Doctor, and then they're like, let's do that again. Let's have the companion fall in love with the Doctor all over again.
And we needed something different.
Yeah.
So they cheated the actress, Freema, out of, being a great companion. And then they got it right with Donna.
Oh, Donna was amazing.
Oh, yeah.
But they got it right, but they should have got it right with Martha as well. Anyway,
they investigate the headmaster's office and find that the bat-like creatures are sleeping. It turns out young Rose was right when she thought all of the teachers slept at the school. Aww,
that was cute.
Adorable.
I thought that was cute. I like the snoring.
The Doctor estimates that the 13 bat creatures sleeping in the school are the new staff Mr. Finch brought in. So who was the creature that was screeching that caused them to walk around the school?
I think that was Mr. Finch.
Now, that's the thing I want to know. Does he have a bat form?
I think he does.
Because he says later on that he likes being human and everyone else just appears to be human.
That makes sense because he, like, I remember him on the roof with the other bat thing, and I was like, why isn't he being
a bat
thing? But he's, like, crouching like one.
Yeah.
Well, it's the same reason why, Iron Man hardly ever wears his faceplate in the movies, because you paid for Robert Downey Jr.
Yeah.
You might as well use Robert Downey Jr., baby.
That's right. You don't want Anthony Head in full prosthetics and no one can see who it is.
Or a terrible early 2000s like CGI.
I
don't know why they show the creatures so often, because they are not looking great.
No, they're not.
What I really liked was when the bats were going down the stairs, you saw the bats go down, they go into the corner, the shadows on the wall show them changing into the humans. And that special effect of just showing the shadows was fantastic.
That was perfect, yeah.
And that's what you need, more hinting at it than actually seeing them.
And when the creatures are like crawling down a corridor or something, they look pretty good,
Yeah.
It's just when you've got a single lone one like mugging at the camera that you're like, yeah, that's right.
Yeah, I was thinking when you saw them hanging up, I was like, that looks really good. And then as soon as it opened up, it was like, oh, that's
silly.
Disappointing. Yeah.
You've ruined it.
Yeah.
The Doctor wants to analyse the oil in the TARDIS, but Sarah Jane has brought along K9 Mark III.
I love David, the Doctor. Okay, no.
Yeah, the disco dog that isn't working. Yeah. It was so disco.
He says, why is it so disco? He says this was cutting edge in the, I don't know, whatever century. 51st century. Isn't that where Jack's from?
Probably. 51st, 53rd, something around there.
Yeah, he's very disco, Jack.
So instead of jumping into the TARDIS and analysing the oil straight away, they head to a 24-hour cafe to fix K9.
Yeah, in front of everybody.
Yeah.
Just get hard up against the window.
Yeah. Yeah, so everyone who's following them can see them, hear the conversation, lip read.
I really liked as I said, I like Mickey with his I've got my I told you so dance for later, which I thought was quite funny. But I was really fascinated by the conversation between the Doctor and Sarah, because I'm very invested in Sarah. But you didn't know who Sarah was, so what did you get from that conversation? The first time you watched it, did you kind of go, I think
at that point I realised why it mattered so much, but leading up to that, she was treated like such a special thing that we should recognise, and I didn't get it until they had that conversation. But if they had that conversation at the beginning of the episode, I would be like, okay, I understand why I need to be invested in this woman, because it just didn't make any sense to me.
Okay. So it wasn't until that conversation that you became aware of who she was and why she was important.
I got like... I got, oh, this is a special thing, this is connecting the previous to the now. I quite like that. And I quite like the fact that Doctor Who has continued when it came back, rather than trying to reboot it again.
It's not a spin-off. It's the same series.
Yeah. And it's also a good way of saying that the Doctor who was the first one who kidnapped Barbara and Ian, all the way through to David Tennant, are exactly the same person. And I think that's what I really liked about it too. Although this one's a little creepier with the 18-year-old girl. But I try to forget that.
And as someone who is constantly busy, I noticed that they spend all that time in the cafe and nobody appears tired next day. They're all like bright-eyed, bushy-tailed. They're all totally fine.
Oh, he probably has some sci-fi magic to do
that. Gives them all a no-dose.
Oh, in the cafe, when he's saying, I'm no dinner lady, he doesn't know what the substance is yet. He doesn't know that it's not going to dissolve him. And he just says, I'm no dinner lady, touches it. That pisses me off. Oh, the lab safety of these shows.
I know. I mean, all the Doctor needs is me, the safety officer, to go with him everywhere. Slow down all the action as I do my risk assessment.
I mean, the only reason I think it's okay is I think he assumes that all of the new people are aliens. But it kind of comes off as like, nah, dinner ladies are like... They're like plebs, so they would burn because they don't have the money that I have. So I'm just going to dip my hand in. Or else he thinks like, oh, it probably burns humans, but it's not going to burn me, a Time Lord.
It's such an assumption.
I don't know, but he knows that everyone's been eating it and it's on the chip. So it's in a small dose.
It'd be great if there was an episode where he's like, excuse me, I'm no dinner lady. Ah, fuck, that really hurts. Jesus.
I should be.
Holy shit, get me a spoon. Oh, that was so stupid. Why did I do that?
We're in a diner. I could have just got a spoon.
What's the diner owner doing? Be like, what are you what are you guys doing?
Yeah.
Is that a project or something?
I love the fact that they did not try to make Canine any more than what Canine was.
Yeah.
That little thing comes out and he puts it on and it wobbles all the way.
Yeah, it looks a little bit
His nose.
strange where he's like lubricating
His nipple.
Canine's nipple.
His
Yeah.
inverted nipple. I love your inverted nipples.
Yeah, so Sarah Jane and the Doctor reminisce. Sarah Jane knew he'd be part of the spaceship above London from the Christmas invasion, and it turns out when the Doctor dropped off Sarah Jane, it was in Aberdeen, not Croydon. As he first thought. Mm-hmm. Canine jumps back to life and identifies the oil as krillatane oil. The krillatanes are a composite race, taking their favourite parts of species to enhance their physical form. Rose is upset when she realises she isn't the first person to travel with the Doctor, and he has to remind her that his lifespan is much longer than hers. But he promises not to replace her, something that he might have to explain to Martha, Donna Noble, Amy and Rory, Clara, Bill Potts, and Graham, Ryan, and Yaz.
Yeah, I mean, he promises...
I think he's promising not to abandon her.
Yeah.
But it kind of comes off as like, I won't replace you. And it's like, you 100% will.
Yeah,
yeah.
The thing is, the Doctor can't make that promise to anyone because he doesn't know who'll live or die.
But he does. He says, not to you. Never to you.
Yeah, I think he would have said that to Sarah if she was 23.
Yeah.
I mean, I understand what he says. Imagine watching something that you, and he doesn't say love, but somebody that you love is what he's thinking, wither away. So that's why he's so crappy at goodbyes. And that's why I think he can be quite cold sometimes because he cuts off and he just moves forward. I mean, he must need a lot of therapy with all these repressed...
I was just going to say, he could use a good therapist.
Yeah.
Or maybe find himself
Maybe
a
not.
nice Time Lord man or lady, Lord or lady.
He had Romana. And she left and it wasn't as big a deal for him, you know. And she could have stayed with him forever. But anyway.
She was too old.
Yeah. Yeah, she was at least 23.
She was
I think.
850, not 90.
Yeah.
The Mr. Finch and a krillatane bat creature have followed the Hoobie gang and attack when he finds out that John Smith is a Time Lord. Rose mentions that they didn't actually attack them, it just flew off. She asks, what did it do that for? Which is a very valid question that never gets answered. You see, pointing out plot holes does not make them okay. I thought he must have like taken a sample of them or something, but no, they never explain that.
Well, I also think that there is a part of Mr. Finch that is fascinated by having a Time Lord there and how a Time Lord could help him with his plans to unlock the universe and have a Time Lord by your side, which gives you more legitimacy, I think.
Yeah, I definitely, but the bat creature goes to attack them, but then doesn't.
Maybe it's like a magpie thing, like that was a warning.
Yeah, that's right. That's right. And you come near my babies again, I'm going to cut your ear. Cut you, bitch. Magpies are very vicious.
The next day, the Doctor confronts Mr. Finch, or Brother Lasser, in the swimming pool, and we get to see two titans of acting just go at each other.
I love that scene. I love it in the pool. It's a bit misty.
Yeah.
You know, I like that this is the last time David Tennant says, I only give you one warning. He doesn't use that anymore because I don't think it worked for his Doctor. And that was it. But yeah, the two of them. Oh, gosh, it's a good
Anthony
scene.
Head is like super campy and the Doctor is like super serious.
Yeah.
It's a little bit undone by the huge echo in the room.
I don't know. Maybe to me it kind of added to that atmosphere.
Yeah.
You know, the head of the Krillatane, the last of the Time Lords, these big titans having this conversation.
Rose and Sarah Jane are trying to crack open the computers, but eventually bond over the silly things the Doctor does and the crazy things they've both seen.
I do like that. I like when they're trying to one-up each other.
Yeah.
Met the Emperor, you know.
Well, I was saying before how Rose goes, I met the Slovene. And like Sarah Jane has never met the Slovene, so how does she know what that is, you know?
She could have just listed just nonsense
Yeah.
words.
Yeah.
I met the Glonglos.
Yeah, she just makes them up.
I met Agadoriness.
I met the leader of the glitter people.
Oh my God, really? Yeah. But she doesn't need to make them up because she was with the Doctor for like 5 seasons or something.
Yeah, she was with him for a long time. But I do like that they finally break the ice, talk to each other. And I love that they do that thing like, you know, does he still talk to the TARDIS like, you know, it's alive? And when you ask a question, does he still look at you like you've dribbled down your front? Because I do. He does do that stuff. And the Fourth Doctor did that a lot.
Yeah.
You know, just Why would you ask this question? So I thought it was good.
And then Sarah goes, oh, does he look at you sometimes like you're way too old for him? Oh, he will. He will.
It'll happen.
It'll happen.
21 when?
Mr. Finch tells the Krillitanes that they must initiate the final phase, missing a chance to tell them that it's the final countdown. The children are sent back to class and the school is put on lockdown. So what is the final phase? Just working the kids until they're dead?
Yeah, I'd say so. That's what it looks like.
Because I thought, they must be really close to cracking it. But no, they're just it's a final phase.
Just working them until they're dead.
Imagine they work with the kids till they're dead and they're like, still ain't cracked it, eh?
I like that they leave Mickey in the car. So, they get out, they're like on the heist. He gives Sarah the sonic screwdriver, which Rose doesn't like. You do this, Mickey, you stay in the car.
Yeah.
And Mickey's going on about us, stay in the car. It's like being in the corner with, what is it? Glitter and safety scissors.
Yeah.
He did have a job. It was surveillance. And to be honest, that is an important job.
Yeah.
It's not a job. It's the worst job, but it's not a job.
And if the doctor had cared, he could have come back and been like, hey man, if we get locked in the school, we have no way of getting out and you are the only one who knows we're in here. So we kind of need someone outside. So it'd be super cool if you could stay, you're actually really important, man.
No, the doctor never does that.
He doesn't want to make him feel important.
No, instead he goes, crack a window.
Yeah.
Oh, it's for you, dipshit.
I like K9. How are we going to get in the school? We are in the car. Yeah, I know that, you stupid dog. We are in a car.
And the original voice of K9 comes back, John Leeson.
Which is nice, because it never worked when they changed the voice, the character voice. It just didn't work for me.
But he didn't get to work with anyone on set. His
really?
voice was added in later on.
Aww.
It was just a guy being like, we are in a car. We are in a car. We are in a car. And then he did it later on. And he was,
hello, master.
They interviewed him and he's like, people are going to come up to me and say, what was it like working with David Tennant and Billy Piper? And he'd be like, I have no idea. I didn't get to see them.
I was doing it from home.
But he's got this deep voice and I was like, they must have modulated somehow. But no, he goes in and he literally goes, we are in a car.
Yeah.
We are in a car.
He's got amazing little voices he does. Yeah.
The Krillitanes are using the kids to try and crack the Scasis paradigm, a theory of everything that will allow them to rewrite anything in the universe. I tell you what, Stephen Hawking would be pleased.
He would.
He was trying to come up with a theory of everything.
Yeah. Well, wasn't Einstein as well? Wasn't everybody trying to come up with a theory of everything?
Yeah,
Grand scheme. If it took a sacrifice of 100 kids to know the truth about everything,
you're up for it.
I'm not going to say that I'm up for it. I'm saying that I would probably be like Rose and be like, this doesn't seem like any of my business.
Yeah. I would actually go one step further and say that there's probably parents who, if they advertised, hey, send your kids here, we're going to give them this oil that makes them super smart and use them to crack this theory.
But they'll die.
Well, yeah. I feel like there might be kids who are like, yeah, go for it.
There would also be people who would sacrifice themselves to do that.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, if you volunteer for it, okay.
Yeah.
But if you're being duped into it, and
ethically
also
sourced.
Don't put out that call, because there are some parents who do some, I just read a story about a lady who sold her 1-year-old for a car. Ugh. So perhaps we should be a little bit clear on.
We need ethically sourced children.
Yes, ethically sourced.
Yeah.
Yes.
Organic, free range.
Yeah,
children.
Yeah. Oh, God.
They run around in the field eating chips and then they come inside. And
I would have to say, being a mother, there's a part of me that would go, no, because I wouldn't let my kids do it. Even if my kids went, I want to do it, I'd go, no.
But if you, let's say that you made it all of the kids of the world just for one day do this thing, then you won't take too much of their soul.
Well,
Everybody in the world does it for one day, we crack this thing.
It was their soul as well.
Yeah, they had to use their soul.
Yeah, and that's out of the Krillitanes' hands, isn't it? Because as soon as you involve everyone in the world, every government wants it, it becomes a super weapon. Yeah. Trump, the stable genius, takes it.
Well, they decided to come to Earth, so it's their fault.
All right, okay.
Mr. Finch offers the Doctor the chance to help them lead the Krillitane, even offering him the chance to bring back the Time Lords.
And to make Sarah young again.
Oh, yes.
And to have them travel with him forever and never die.
You want your hot girlfriend back?
You can have 2 hot girlfriends. Yeah.
I think he thinks about it. I think he's tempted.
He thinks about 2 hot girlfriends?
No.
Bringing back the Time Lords.
Bringing back the Time Lords, never having to say goodbye to someone that that's become your best friend, that you're in love with, I think he thinks about it. And I love that Sarah stops him.
Yeah, she convinces him that the world must move forward.
Yeah, everything has its time.
Kenny gets Mickey's attention, and he and the K9 smash through the front of the school in Sarah Jane's car.
You are in a car. You are in a car.
Oh, just smash through it, it'll be right. Yeah. The poorly constructed... There's no metal in that door, so how did it lock?
Yeah, I don't know. Anyway, they get in, which is good.
The Hoobie gang meet up and are chased to the cafeteria by 5 Krillitane. I assume the budget couldn't animate the other 8.
Yeah. Well, no, they were busy.
Yeah, right, they were doing other stuff.
Yeah, you know what it's like. There's always Krillitane shit to do. There's admin, there's triplicate. Yeah.
K9 uses his laser to start shooting down the flying monsters, which causes Anthony Head to mug to the camera with some hilarious faces. I loved it. I was like, that's what you're paying him for, baby.
I love the way he moves his head without his neck. It's so... Oh, gosh, he does it well.
Just him opening his mouth real wide.
Oh,
as
yeah.
well. That's neat.
Looks like his eyes go back into his head, and it's
that's
so
like
crazy.
Giles turned bad. He's really
Sorry,
good.
there wasn't actually an episode where Giles turned
I
bad.
know. I watched Buffy.
Okay, all right.
Do you want to fight later?
About Buffy?
Yeah.
I haven't watched Buffy in ages.
All right, we'll fight later.
Okay.
Okay.
Why does that mean we have to fight later?
Oh, because... Oh, that's right. See, it's only other women I fight. Because
Oh,
women can't
right.
get...
As soon as I got here before we started recording, we just went at it.
Yeah, we did.
Yes.
I said, what are you doing here? Huh, bitch? Huh? Think you're better than me?
Nicchia was like, is this the woman you've brought in to replace me? Is it?
Younger, hotter. We'll fight later. Okay.
Please don't.
No, Beck Tech and I fight all the time.
Yeah.
Over
You
you.
didn't tell me about it. Oh, my God.
No,
Why
we-
do you keep coming if she's bullying you?
No, we're fighting over Adam, aren't we?
That's just what being a woman
No,
is.
please.
You
Oh
just
my
show
God,
up to
just-
places.
Yeah.
And,
You get introduced to a guy and you're like, who do I have to fight for this guy?
Oh, yeah. That's what I'm always thinking.
And then you meet another guy, you're like, 2 guys to fight over, am I right, ladies?
Oh, God, I'm tired.
They do say in the confidential episode that they were trying to write it like Sex and the City, two women fighting over. And I don't know if Sex and the City was written by men, but it seems like a male interpretation of what they thought Sex and the City was about.
Yeah.
Because as far as I know, like those women just got together to talk about people they were sleeping with.
And they're best friends.
Yeah, I don't think they ever fought over the same guy or something. I don't remember.
I'm not sure. I'm only familiar with references to Sex and the City.
They may have. I watched it on and off. I watched enough to know a fair bit about it, but not regularly enough to be what I'd call an expert. But
well, the men who wrote this episode, and the men who wrote, directed, and showrun this episode think that Sex and the City was all about women fighting over men.
Yeah.
So there you go. That's what happened.
Let's make Sex in the City, but for children.
yeah.
Genius.
Mickey evacuates the kids from the school by unplugging the power supply.
That is great. I love that it takes him a little while to go, pull the plug, because he's sort of got this panicky thing. Yeah, that was just
but
a
all
nice
of those
little funny
computers
moment.
are being by one little power outlet,
Yeah, I don't know.
The circuit breaker should be tripping like every 5 seconds. Like every time you turn it on, just trip.
I was laughed that the kids are all sitting there with headphones, and he pulls the plug, says get out, and none of them have got headphones on anymore. I did like that.
Oh, wow, I missed that.
Yeah.
I wonder what the headphones are for. I imagine like he just pulls it away and it's just like screamo music. Like, hey kids. Oh, sorry.
Maybe it's the kind of music that, makes them feel smart. I don't know, like dumbass pop music that makes you feel a lot smarter than everybody
They
else.
seem to be in a trance, though.
Yeah, they do.
Like, it might just be sort of distracting their...
Oh, maybe it's
Oh,
Finch
just
going.
noise cancelling, yeah.
Yeah, their conscious brain, it sort of
It's
distracts
just whale
them.
songs.
Ah. Ooh.
Excuses paradise.
Did I tell you I saw black dolphins at Port Macquarie last week?
It's the colour of the dolphins.
They're black. I didn't know we had black dolphins, and they came right up near the pier. We got great photos of them. They were fantastic.
Wow.
Anyway, I just thought I'd
I
put
didn't know
them
you.
in.
Oh, okay.
Whale
On your
music.
cross-country
Yeah,
trip.
my cross-country trip.
I also did not know that they existed.
No,
That's cool.
nor did I. We had to look them up.
To make sure they were real.
Yeah, well, to make sure that people at Port Macquarie weren't painting the dolphins for the tourists.
Check out the rainbow one, guys.
The pink one made me suspicious, that's all.
The vats of krillitane oil, which apparently are best transported whilst open, are closed now that they're standing completely still.
Oh, yeah.
The doctor tries to get it. I'm like, oh, well, they just leave them open all the time, apparently. K9 offers to shoot the barrels with his laser whilst the Hoobie gang escape.
Really 4 times in one episode.
Gotta use it. Gotta remember to use it.
The Hoobie gang.
Hopefully one of those will make it into the episode.
Where does that word come from?
So we used to call them the Scooby Gang because of Buffy, and then one of our guests came up with Hoobie Gang.
That's
cute. So Kira came up with it, so we've been using it more.
One of our listeners commented that they like it, so we're using it all the time.
Oh, yeah, you gotta milk that.
Oh, yeah. Excuse me, Hoobie gang, Hoobie gang, Hoobie gang. Oh,
don't say it. Don't say it in a mirror 3
You'll
times
summon
fast.
I'll summon the Hoobie gang.
Otherwise, the doctor will appear and break your heart.
Yeah, it kind of reminds me, I went to school with people whose last name was Uber gang. So it's kind of like that.
That's cool.
Yeah, Uber gangs. The Uber gangs.
Where's that name from? Germany?
Well, they were it's a Lutheran school, so I assume. Hello, all the Uber gangs out there. Let me know. German, I assume.
The school, the krillitanes, and K9 explode, and Kenny gets the blame, or the praise, I suppose.
Kenny blew up the school!
Yay! But then the police come and they're like, so Kenny, tell me about blowing up the school.
And K9's gone.
No, he'll never be back.
I love Mr. Finch's bad dog.
Yes.
Yes.
It's the dog with the nasty bite.
Yes.
I love that. Affirmative.
That's me, bitch. I got you. Suck it. K9's here to destroy you.
I like Sarah. She goes, it's just a stupid dog.
And the weird thing is, in the confidential episode, they showed the first scene that Sarah Jane filmed for the episode is when he comes out of the door and she goes, "Where's K9?" I'm like, that's so much emotion for the first scene.
Yeah, that's always the weirdest thing with television, isn't it? Because you can't work up to your emotions. You know, you could meet someone and have to do your love sex scene.
Yeah.
But, you know, you've been in love with them and you're like, oh, hello, how are you?
Yeah.
Right, well.
It's the same with Anthony Stewart Head. The first scene they filmed with David Tennant and Anthony Stewart Head was in the pool.
Oh.
I'm like, there's so much that builds up to that. And you have to be like switched on straight away.
I suppose though, like Sarah Jane, this is her first episode since she was on decades ago.
Yeah.
I'd be a bit emotional as well.
Yeah.
In the first scene that we're doing. And it's like, oh, here we are again. Amazing.
Yeah.
And then it's a lot of emotions can come up that way. Also, she's an actress.
Yeah.
It's just interesting to see that behind the scenes process.
Yeah.
And Elizabeth Sladen talks about when Russell T Davies sat down with her, she was so worried they were going to be like, so we just want you to walk past in the background. It's going to be a great Easter egg.
Yeah.
And she was all ready to say, absolutely not. Like, no way. And then they explained to her, like, no, we actually want you to be in the episode. You're going to be a part of it. You're going to deal with these emotions. And she says, well, after that, we got another bottle of wine and it became a very messy night. And she said yes. So...
But I told you that when the fourth Doctor and transferred into Peter Davison, the fifth Doctor, they were in talks with Sarah to come back and be his companion to try and make, because they thought the transition would be so hard from Tom Baker,
right?
That they did talk to her, but she felt it was too soon and she didn't go back. But she could have been back in as a companion again.
Later, the Doctor invites Sarah Jane aboard the TARDIS.
Oh,
you redecorated.
Look, it's perfect. I mean, yes, I would have loved her to get on, but I think it's perfect that she doesn't. That finally she makes the decision that she's going to move on with her life, even though she waited far too long for it.
The Doctor offers Sarah Jane the chance to travel with them for an adventure, but she decides to go do her own spin-off instead.
She does.
She does. Well, she didn't have a spin-off at the time, but they liked it so much they offered her a spin-off.
Oh, yeah. Why would you not?
Yeah.
The Doctor inviting Sarah onto the TARDIS is like inviting someone to a party and you forget that someone else is there that you don't want at the party.
Yeah.
And Mickey's like, can I come?
Yeah.
Oh, fuck.
The look on Rose's face. And even Sarah catches it because Sarah goes, oh, come on, you need a Smith on board. And she looks at Rose and goes, no. Cut it off.
Well, it's okay. He doesn't stay on the TARDIS for very long.
It's just really strange, but I like the fact that it's Rose that prompts the Doctor to ask. So Rose is the one who said maybe Sarah should come. So at least we've dissolved that this women can be friends. I
Wow.
liked that. I know it's a big miracle, and a lot of people don't believe it, but we can.
I love that Mickey goes, "Can I come?" Not with you, Sarah Jane.
Yeah,
It's with these guys, as if he's like, "Hey, Sarah Jane, do you mind if I shack up with you?" And Sarah Jane's like, "Actually, I found the one, Doctor.
Yeah,
This guy.
yeah.
He's going to be a great filmmaker someday."
Yum, yum.
Yeah.
Sarah tells Rose that some things are worth getting your heart broken for, but I'm not entirely sure I agree. Katie and Morgwin. Anyway. Sarah Jane finally...
Better to have loved and lost than never to have loved again.
Sure.
Never to have loved at all. Something like that. Look, you wouldn't know what love was otherwise.
Sarah Jane finally manages to get the Doctor to say goodbye to her after all this time. Please say it, Doctor, please.
No. And then he says, "Goodbye, my Sarah Jane."
Yeah, and I think that was David Tennant rather than the Doctor.
Because he said she was his companion. That was, you always have your doctor. You also have who is your companion.
Well, imagine working on a show.
Where you used to sit there eating your toast, watching this actress and just loving her. Apparently when John Barrowman met her, he said she probably thought there was something wrong with him because he couldn't stop touching her and shaking her hand. And, she was like, yeah, okay.
That's how you know John Barrowman likes you.
Yeah, he was really fanboying and it was very
that's
exciting.
really cool. The TARDIS disappears, revealing the rebuilt K9 Mark IV.
Yes. And what I love is she walks off talking to K9. Come on, K9, we've got things to do.
Yeah.
And when she leaves the Doctor in the original series, she's standing there with her tennis racket and her bag, and a Labrador comes up and she's talking to the dog. She says,
I didn't know that.
blew it. He blew it.
Aww.
So there you go.
That's it for another episode. Does anyone have anything else they would like to mention about School Reunion?
No, I was really interested to see how it was going to go with the trio on the TARDIS for the next story.
Oh, the next one was the clockwork.
The girl in the fireplace.
That was always too scary for me at the time. I couldn't do it.
It's my favourite episode.
Yeah, it's such a good episode. But
Okay, as we always do, we'd like to give the episode a score out of 5, 1 being the lowest, 5 being the highest. Nicchia, would you like to go first?
I will have to go with. I know that there's some problems with the sub story and stuff, or the secondary plot. But for me, having Sarah Jane back, fangirling all over the place, having a bit of a cry, even though the women are represented poorly, I still have to give it a 4 because of the nostalgia. And I wanted to know what Sarah had been doing and what had happened. So yeah, 4.
Yeah, and I also give it a 4. To me, I did briefly consider giving it a 3 or a 4.5, or, I go back and forth. I like these conversations that we have because where this episode is well known by Whovians, and it sits well, it's got an important part because it brings back Sarah Jane.
Yeah.
Obviously, it's kind of a backdoor pilot for the Sarah Jane adventures and bringing her back into the fold. And I don't know if there's many episodes of Doctor Who where they not reference, but have something from way back when.
No, not
other
as,
than the enemies.
Not they have the enemies, but once the companions go, particularly in the old series, that was it. The Doctor cut them off.
Whereas the Big Finish audio
got rid of their
plays
rooms.
are basically that's their bread and butter. Is reinvigorating stuff like that.
Yeah.
So the story of the Krillitanes isn't very good. The CGI is a little bit dodgy for the time, but Anthony Stewart Head is amazing. Sarah Jane is amazing.
Yeah.
There's some nice shots like Rebecca mentioned where they come down the stairs and then they transform and then they all come out into formation. There's a lot of stuff that's really good, and it's really important for the series as a whole. So I'm going to give it a 4.
Yep.
Rebecca.
I'm finding this hard to rate because my favorite episode of Doctor Who is Love and Monsters, which is arguably the worst episode.
Yeah.
But it's so silly and stupid, and it makes me feel feelings.
Wow.
It makes me feel joyful, that episode. But it's so goddamn stupid.
Yeah.
And that's why it's my favorite one. But I think this episode, the fact that it melds the sort of old series with the new series, it has the bad CGI, which is what you want to see. It's very Doctor Who. It's like Curse of the Time Lords. He says his catchphrase. Yeah. It's what I want. So I'd probably go like a 3.5.
Oh,
Yeah.
cool. Okay.
Yeah, that's good.
Oh, really cool. Becktech.
Becktech.
Probably give it a 3.5. I wasn't really much of a fan of the storyline. I just found it kind of a filler sort of episode, but I liked the Sarah Jane sort of storyline of it. I thought it was really interesting. And then the only thing that confused me was I always thought that Sarah Jane was more so her relationship with the Doctor was, you know, as friends, but then in this episode it was kind of being portrayed as like, oh yeah, she was in love with him.
Yeah.
I think they're all in love with him to some degree, but it's not a normal, you know, boy meets girl love story. It's
a girl meets Time Lord story.
Yeah, it's always been something more, even though he's asexual. In my mind, he always was growing up. But it was like a friendship that was more. I don't know. Yeah. It's hard to explain.
Well, I mean, watching some of those old Tom Baker episodes, he is more asexual than David Tennant, who
of course.
Just exudes sex, basically.
Yeah, pretty much.
Christopher Eccleston was less sexual than
Matt Smith is more asexual, and yet he had a lot more of kissing and stuff. But,
he's the pretty boy, though.
Yeah, you say that all the time, but you don't think David Tennant is a prettier boy?
No, but he exudes that sexuality. Sorry.
Matt sort of can get away with doing the kissing stuff as well because he's so silly about it that it doesn't come off as sexual. He would say stuff like texting and scones.
Yeah.
And it was sort of like, oh, he's just this silly old man who doesn't get it.
And he didn't know what to do with his hands.
His
I always
spider hands.
loved that. When they're kissing, his hands would be going. I thought he did it beautifully.
Just two more facts. We were talking about before, Mr. Wagner is played by Eugene Washington, who would eventually be one of the main actors in Darren Brown's The Push. And on the drive over, Rebecca and I fan-peopled over Darren Brown. I love Darren Brown.
So he's the head teacher?
Yes. Not Darren Brown, but he So
one of the actors in.
Yeah.
Every year I watch everything Darren Brown's ever done.
Really?
Like I just,
So cool.
I take a couple of weeks and all I watch is just Darren Brown specials.
Okay.
Darren Brown is like, he studied psychology, he studied like magic, he studied like, so he kind of mixes all that together. And The Push is on Netflix. Definitely check it out.
Yep.
Basically, he tries to use social pressure to build up to someone to see if they can commit murder.
He sounds like a psychopath, but like it's all.
It does sound slightly psychopathic now you say it.
Rebecca and I did say we would 100% be his volunteer if he wanted us.
Really?
Yeah, I would volunteer to do that.
In
absolutely.
a heartbeat. In an absolute heartbeat. He could do whatever he wanted to.
Wow.
That came out wrong.
I trust him.
Came out wrong.
Oh no, he absolutely could. I trust him with my life.
Yeah.
And everyone else's life.
Totally.
He could rule the world for all I
We
care.
were saying that
God, he's good then.
if he went a little bit crazy in his later life, he would be a massive cult leader.
He has so much power.
Yeah.
He could really mess up.
So he
the
could
world.
use it for evil or good?
He could use it for anything he wants because he's Darren Brown.
Wow.
And we'd all be like, thanks, man.
Yeah.
Love you.
Yeah.
Thanks for killing me.
The reason he could do that later on is because he's built up so much trust. Because he explains himself and he makes sure that people are okay after they do one of his social experiments. And it's not like a reality TV show. He's like, all right, well that's done. Off you go.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
All right.
He's always saying, I'm not psychic. I'm not magic.
Yeah.
This is how it's done. It's
And Melissa, the girl in the classroom, is played by actress Lucinda Dryzek, who is still acting. She appeared as a young version of Keira Knightley's character in Pirates of the Caribbean, The Curse of the Black Pearl.
Oh, really?
Try saying that 3 times fast.
Yeah.
And recently in the new Twilight Zone as a character named Catherine Langford.
Ooh, Twilight Zone.
I haven't seen the new Twilight
No,
Zone.
but
I can't find it online.
I've got to get into it because I loved the old Twilight.
In a thoroughly Twilight Zone twist, Catherine Langford is also the name of an Australian actor who played Hannah Baker in 13 Reasons Why and an older Morgan Stark in a deleted scene from Avengers Endgame.
Ooh, a deleted scene.
Yeah.
She's Australian?
Yeah, she's Australian.
Oh, I
apparently.
didn't know that.
Apparently they had this scene where Tony Stark meets Morgan Stark, an older Morgan Stark in the Soul World, like the same place that they get the Soul Stone.
Yeah.
Right.
But test audiences were
Didn't like it.
confused and didn't understand it, so they took it out. And so
Dumb as a box of hair.
hopefully it's on the Blu-ray. Oh, that'd be cool.
That'd be great.
Oh, yeah, for my Blu-ray collection.
I have Blu-ray collection.
Oh, that's cute.
Oh,
I have a DVD collection.
yeah, so do I.
I don't have any of my tapes left. I'm missing them.
All right, thank you very much. Thank you so much for joining us.
So, Rebecca,
Yeah.
everybody who comes on here, we ask them what their Time Lord name would be. So what would your Time Lord name be?
I'm a very organized person. Like I have spreadsheets for like my personal life. So I'd probably be something like the administrator.
The administrator.
cool.
So what I want to know is we pull up in the TARDIS or we land in the TARDIS. I get out, I'm the commander. We've got the nerd, we've got the artist, we've got the administrator. What does the administrator do in the adventure? What do you bring to it?
I would probably have the itinerary ready. I would say, does everyone have their universe passport?
Yes.
Do we have everything? Phone, keys, wallet.
Yeah.
That would be me.
A few spreadsheets on the atmosphere.
Yeah.
Will be all right.
Yeah,
Good.
these are the things that we need to know.
Good.
I've researched the local customs so we don't do anything weird. This is the immigration law for this planet.
How much did you pay for a coffee? Because that's actually way too much. You got scammed.
Yeah.
Ooh, you have to tip there.
Yes.
I would need that because I never know when to tip. Anytime I go to America, I'm so scared of everybody. The lady came in and make up my room and I hid because I didn't know if I had to tip her or not.
I know. I always try and make sure that I go out, even if I go out into the lobby and just walk around for a bit and then come back, because I just feel really awkward when they try and clean your room when you're in it.
I know. And a guy gave me a cup of tea, the concierge, and I thought, do I tip him? So I ran away.
In Canada, I would always over tip. I would always tip 20% because I heard that 20% was a good tip.
Yeah.
And they were like, why do you tip 20% every time? And I said, because I have anxiety.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You don't want people to spit in your coffee out the back.
I don't want them to hate me.
No. So, yeah. All right. Great. We've got the administrator.
Fantastic. And one last thing. What movie do you think would be improved by adding the Doctor? So it could be a bad movie that you think would be improved by adding the Doctor, or a good movie that you would just like to see him in.
Oh, that's a tricky one. I'm trying to think of maybe I don't want to say Billy Madison because
It could only be improved.
Oh man, I was thinking about Billy Madison and it's like, is he supposed to have a disability?
Yeah.
I don't know. I just think adding him in movies that he just would not belong in. Maybe like a rom-com. Bridget Jones's Diary. Yes. No, that's it. That's the one.
I can see that. I
feel like Bridget Jones needs someone to have a speech with her where he's like, "You are so special. You are, amazing." Blah blah blah. Because meanwhile, everyone else is just trying to tear her down. Like we had a previous guest on, and she's she's a thin woman.
Yeah.
And she said she was reading Bridget Jones, and Bridget Jones is complaining because she was the same weight as this woman. This woman was ecstatic that she was at this weight.
Yeah.
But in the books, Bridget Jones is like
going
I'm
on
so
about how fat
blah,
she
blah.
is. Yeah.
It's like Jesus Christ.
Oh god, terrible. It's the same kind of vein as Doctor Who though.
Yeah.
It's like this is how women need to be.
Yeah.
It's a real body dysmorphia, isn't it?
Yeah. People don't care,
No, look, they don't in the end. Have a bit of a personality and it'll all work out in the end.
All right, thank you so much for coming on the podcast. Do you have anything that you would like to plug?
Yes. Well, I'll probably be in some school night comedies at Big Fork Theatre.
Sure.
Cool.
Those are always fun. I'm in those every other week.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, check out Big Fork Theatre to see Rebecca and some of our previous guests. Yeah.
And Adam. Adam's there sometimes
I'm there
as well.
sometimes, yeah.
I also have a YouTube video to plug.
Oh, cool.
Ooh.
Yeah, my improv duo from Vancouver. It's me and Sean, and we're two people with disabilities, and we actually have disabilities. We're not just
Yeah.
like a tasteless
Making
sketch
fun.
group.
Yeah, good on you.
Yeah, so we did an improv set about disability, and we talk about disability, and I'm really proud of it.
Oh,
good.
So what do they type in YouTube to find it?
Two people with disabilities. Rebecca Renton will get you the
and
video.
we'll put a link to that as well.
Yeah. If you can send us a link, we'll put it on.
Thank you.
And some cosplay photos, we can put them up.
Yeah,
on
definitely.
yes.
That would be so cool. It looks so good.
I worked really hard on it.
Well, yeah. Well, you look quite a bit like Amy Pond with
Oh
the
my
red
god,
hair.
Yeah.
the Amy Pond costume, that hadn't come out yet. Like the episodes with Amy Pond
amazing.
had not come out yet. I went off
really?
press photos, and initially they had like the joke press photos where they're like, "Oh, this is a teaser, but it's not real," and they had her in a green jumper,
Yeah.
and I almost bought a green jumper, and they had a new photo, and it's like, "Oh, it's red. It's actually
Yeah.
red.
Yeah.
Hold up."
Yeah.
Oh, I got the exact jumper.
Wow.
Wow. I've heard of people like doing that where they cosplay as a character before that character appears. That's amazing. Yeah.
It was impressive.
It's always good when you can do that, I think.
Nicchia, do you have anything that you would like to plug?
Just always Nicchia Shoot comedy, and I have my gigs on my Facebook page, and anything else. I might even have some Kimber the White Lion stuff. That's gone quite well, I would like to point out, on our Facebook page.
Okay, well, let us know how your Kimber the White Lion podcast goes.
It will be fantastic. Everyone will be my age for a change.
As always, you can follow Adam O'Sullivan Comedian on Facebook and visit thenerdinfinite.com. You can also check out All In Brewing.
Oh, yes.
At Banyo, Sharpest Tool in the Shed. Please check it out. Free comedy last Friday of every month.
Exactly.
D4WH is on Facebook. Give a page a like for updates and follow us on Twitter and Instagram at D4WHpod. We'll post questions and polls and would love your input and feedback. Rate and review us on iTunes, recommend us on Facebook and follow us on Podbean. We are also now available on Spotify and Stitcher. Help us get the word out. Tell your friends about us. And if you see someone on the street wearing a Doctor Who shirt, politely go up to them and suggest our podcast. Sorry. Can I get a suggestion of a object and a location?
Let's go with an orange and an oil rig.
Get the word out. You might be working hard in an oil rig, and it's very difficult to get fresh fruit out in an oil rig because there's no trees nearby, but turns out that in your bunker you've got there's that where I don't know anything about oil rigs.
In your pod,
you've got a small little pod of dirt, and you're growing a beautiful small orange tree, and it's finally started to give fruit. You've got your first orange, and you peel it back and you taste it, and it doesn't taste as nice as you thought it would be, but you sit there and eat your orange as you listen to D4WH and remember that life used to be so much sweeter than what it currently is in an oil rig. What I'm trying to say is thank you to people who work on oil rigs, but also kind of not, because you're polluting the world.
Hey, they've got a job.
Yes.
Someone's just trying to feed their family.
They're just trying to feed their families.
And as we know, Ryan's dad abandoned him to go work in an oil rig.
Yeah.
Which, on the scheme of things, is not the worst way to abandon your kids.
No. It's until they start offering people alternative jobs in alternative energy, what are you going to do?
Right, that's the thing is, whenever someone talks about, like, we should move to solar and stuff, people complain like, oh, but all these miners are going to have no jobs. And it's like, no, it's the job of the government that moves to the...
Yeah,
That's why we need the government involved, so they can retrain these people to work in solar. Anyway.
Well, that's why we need the government to put money into research so that we can build things so that therefore then we have new jobs.
Oh, but this was a heavy suggestion.
Yeah, so thanks for bringing up all those. Get a Tesla. No, but only if you need a new car. Like, don't buy it if you don't get rid of your car. Anyway. Until next time, keep searching the skies for the Doctor. Thank you.
Goodbye.
This has been a production of The Nerd Infinite. And then the sound of dragons spitting fire and stuff. What? Why are you looking at me like that?
That's right. So just shut up, okay? Okay?
Well,
this
that's
is
getting
my
cut.
show.